beautiful day in the neighborhood. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Would you be my neighbor? Sorry I'm a little late. Went over to one of the funeral homes to do a celebration for a guy by the name of, well, his last name was Martin, comes from the Martin family, known in the Fillmore, Winslow area back in the day. There were ballers and all the OGs was there. All the OGs talking about how the neighborhood used to be. Talking about the neighborhood. Now, what's interesting, and I got a lot of guests today, so let somebody know I was late, but I'm on the air. What's interesting, Betty Jean Grant wrote in The Challenger a very interesting article about the neighborhood, about what it used to be, and about where we are now. And for the most part, it was, I probably couldn't have wrote that article. People like, he dogging it. No, but somebody with a community voice like hers, I thought it was a very appropriate article to talk about, what we don't have, where we're not. I mean, sooner or later, we do have to stop being the GoFundMe people for everything. The GoFundMe. We got to GoFundMe for everything. And I want to say this, I do agree that people do hit hard times.
Absolutely.
But I've said it on this show before. We hit hard times, but you got to realize we are the only people who were taught to hate each other. We're the only people.
So true.
That were taught to hate each other, not work together, sabotage each other. Then she has another article, interesting article. I guess she's writing for Criterion and Challenger now.
Everybody.
About the Common Council. Mm-hmm. Did you see that article?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I picked it up in the funeral home.
Okay.
And she has an interesting article about the Common Council and the race for president and all that kind of stuff. Very interesting. Whether you agree or not, she has an opinion and she makes it known. I've got two guests with me today. One is going to be talking about this whole menthol thing because I think I understand it, but I think if I think I understand it, I'm not sure, then there's somebody else out there who may not understand it, not sure, and that's what this platform is about. So we're going to talk a little bit about menthol and why there's some people who think that menthol should be banned and why there's some people who think it shouldn't. And then we're going to talk about weed on Bailey.
I did see that video.
Now, when we had a store on Jefferson that put Bart Simpson up with weed,
Yes. Yep.
and I wanted to get rid of it, people act like they was losing their mind against me.
Sure did.
Right.
They was mad at me. You go out and make a video. I looked at the comments. I was like, all the university people was like, yes.
I know, they 10 toes down.
I'm like, where is the pro cannabis people? Where y'all ain't mad? Y'all was mad at me, and the man wasn't even selling weed out the store.
Yeah.
My man just decided to take a cartoon character, put a backpack on his back in front of a bus stop with a blunt. I heard your man got a gorilla.
He got a gorilla with a blunt.
A gorilla.
A big old blunt.
With a blunt.
Yeah.
And it ain't.
No, these people ain't having it.
So before we get to the real topics, Frontier Airlines is getting ready, and I know this ain't got nothing to do with nothing,
Hey,
but I am a Frontier person.
Let's celebrate it.
Frontier Airlines, you heard about this?
Not yet.
Major fee overhaul. Frontier. Budget carrier
Are they
Frontier
coming down?
Airlines is shaking up its pricing model. And the reason I'm reading this because I'm a Frontier guy. Y'all can say whatever you want to.
I'm
Talk
Frontier
about
with
it.
you.
I get my tail on that Frontier and I pack what I can. I went to the flea market in Florida and found in the flea market in Florida, you could buy luggage that can go up under the seat.
I was going to say, they got the Frontier.
They
Frontier
advertised,
Spirit.
they said, Spirit in Frontier. And I told the lady, this is not going to fit. She said, oh, yes,
Yes,
it will.
it will.
The wheels come off. Everything come off.
Yes.
But when you walking through the airport, it looked like a regular bag. Man.
I got to get one of those.
Game changer.
Shoot, I am a Frontier frequent flyer. Y'all, I ain't taking Frontier. When it comes to saving my money,
Amen.
when I get through the airport, I'll tell y'all how I do it. I buy me a bottle of water because I ain't buying y'all
Oh,
water.
absolutely not.
And I buy me a sub or something that I can eat. And I try not to, y'all stop stop getting onions and stuff because it
Yeah,
just.
to tear the whole plane up.
I did do
Oh,
onions
God.
last week or this week when I came home.
No.
I got onions because I stopped at Mike's Subs in the
Uh-huh.
airport, and I was like, man, just give me the works. And man, when I opened that sandwich, I was so embarrassed. Cause it was lit, I lit up my whole row, but I sat next to a dude.
not the Bishop. It's not
Oh,
the Bishop.
let me tell you what happened at Frontier. But I sat. No, I would nope. I was on Southwest this week
Oh, okay.
because Frontier was acting crazy with their prices.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm on Southwest this week. So you get on Southwest, and I had a B seat.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I get a whole row, and of course, the plane was full from where I was coming from. So I'm on the window.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's courtesy when the two seats is open? Where would you sit if it's an aisle and
On the aisle.
you sit on the aisle? Come on, preach,
Don't come sit right next
preach,
to you.
Reverend.
And I
Absolutely.
don't know you.
Preach, doctor. You know he a
kidding
doctor
me?
now. He got his PhD. No, really.
Dr. Pointer.
Yeah,
Dr. Pointer.
Dr. Pointer.
No, I'm not joking. He just got his PhD. Yes. Congratulations, doctor.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So you sit on the aisle.
That's
That's
right.
common
That's what we do.
courtesy.
Yes.
Right.
That's
No.
what we do.
Bruh gonna come sit right next to me.
Oh, disrespectful.
But here's the bad part.
Let's get close.
If you got the middle, then you do get the armrest, I believe. Because
Yeah,
you got the
yeah,
middle,
yeah.
somebody got the
I
aisle.
can
That's
see that.
common
Yeah.
courtesy.
Yes.
But he puts his arm, like the elbow, keep touching me.
On your
Like
armrest.
he extended beyond the armrest.
Oh, no,
that's
that's-
not.
no,
He
no.
he had his like in a V like that.
Yeah.
And so that meant every time I was like, oh, and he was tall and he had hairy arms and it was freaking me
Oh.
out. And I had short sleeves on. So no, bruh.
no.
It freaked me out.
I'm with you all the way.
So now I'm in the
I'm with you all
corner
the way.
like this. I'm in the corner of
Oh,
my
no.
chair like that.
Oh,
Like
that's
that. You see
terrible.
that? You
Yeah,
see
yeah.
they can't see it on the radio.
Right.
But I'm in all up on the window. Like I'm hugging the window. And still, then one time he fell asleep and his leg kind of, I'm like, oh.
If you don't take your tail over to that aisle seat,
He should have took the aisle seat.
disrespectful.
Okay, last thing, then I'm going to read the Frontier, then we're going to talk about real business. So I'm on Southwest. You know what I don't like? I don't know why people won't train people. If you enroll 30, unless you got to catch a flight, when it's time to get off, you don't just run past everybody.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Now, I'm in like 3 rows from the back. Hairy man acting like he gonna let everybody in the back go, and I stood up like, come on, let's go. So I go out, and the lady behind me just gonna go in front of me. I was like, you welcome.
This is a good flight.
You know, common courtesy and civility is dead.
Come on. I just preached the funeral of somebody who got a master's in sociology. I talked about what sociology meant. I didn't even know what sociology meant. Social behavior.
Yes.
Yeah.
Social behavior.
Yes.
So back to Frontier, and then we're going to talk about real stuff. The new Frontier with upfront pricing and options. This gonna price is gonna go up, including new bundled economy, premium, and business seats.
Business seats.
This is how they doing the business seat. You buy a business seat, it's a regular seat, but nobody's in the middle. So so you
me
paying
up. Wait,
$100-something more because they still making the money off that seat.
Right.
But you pay and the other person paying, and they call that their new business seat.
Okay.
I probably, because I don't want hairy arm on me no more.
Yeah, I can see me paying the extra for that.
It depends. Now, if it's just my little 2-hour flight,
Well, yeah, you're right. It depends on the
then
flight. It depends.
then hairy arm all day. I don't care. Because I
Mar-
sit in that corner
Listen,
for 2
as
hours.
Marie Collins said on social media, you just sit there with the gangster lean.
Is that what she said? So they're going to have this business seat. The airline announced Friday that they are making changes to piecemeal fees for services like check bags, seat assignments, and priority boarding. Instead, those amenities can be now selected together in the higher price bundle options. For economy passengers, can pay an extra $30 per fare to receive a complimentary carry-on baggage, $50. Now, before, if you brought a carry-on, you didn't buy it, it was $90 at the gate.
Right.
Yes, it was.
At the gate. The $50 premium bundle adds a check bag,
Oh,
seat selection, and priority boarding. I'm all with the 50.
Oh, that's good.
I'm
That's
definitely
good.
with the 50.
I'm with the 50.
I'm with the 50.
Now,
That's as good as it gets.
That's as good as it gets. Come on now. If they leave those prices down, I'm 50 all in.
I was
Right.
getting ready to say that the flight tickets still got to remain where it is.
They got to
Right.
remain.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
if they go up, I'm over at Southwest.
Yeah, you might as well go with the other airline.
I'm over at Southwest. JetBlue done lost their mind.
Oh,
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah.
They
JetBlue
used to
been
be
crazy.
good, but they
Yeah.
used to be good, and you had the TV on there,
Yeah.
and now you gotta
Pay for
download
everything.
the app. Mark came down
Phew.
came down to the other place one time, and Mark got on. I told him to take Frontier.
Yeah.
Mark got on with his computer, thinking he was
Got the
going to
iPad.
put Wi-Fi on.
Oh yeah, I'm spoiled.
He looking for the.
Listen, I got the headphones. I got the headphones. I'm ready.
You
iPad
didn't download
all
that
set
movie
up.
before you got on?
No,
Oh,
no.
gosh.
Listen, I'm all set up in the game, ready to get going,
Oh,
and I'm
gosh.
like, where's the in-flight Wi-Fi? Where is the, I'm checking options.
Well, okay, this is it, and we got to talk about real stuff. You got to always remember to update if you got to use your computer, because I had to do a whole flight recently, but I didn't update it, so I couldn't watch anything.
Oh, that's terrible.
And that is the pitch, because I can't sleep on the flight. I cannot, unless it's a over seas flight. I can't sleep on flights.
Wow.
So I got to do something. Reverend Doctor. How did it feel to be called doctor? Like for real doctor.
Hey, listen. After spending the time
And money.
actually and the money, that as a matter of fact, I had an argument with a professor who tried to give me a B. I was like, I paid for this class. You're not giving me no B.
That must mean that paper wasn't that good.
Oh no! The paper,
Come on.
The paper was off. What her angst is that she said paper was too long. But in fact, when I queried her about the length of the paper, because originally she said 10 to 15 pages, and I said it's no way to do what you're asking to do in 10 to 15 pages. So I just kept harassing her. Nobody else said anything, but I'm paying, so I'm gonna say what I want to say. So finally she said, just use as many pages as you need to. Then when I brought my paper, she talking about I'm not reading it. I said, oh yes, you are. And then she read it and gave me a B.
You would have got a C plus.
And I'm an A student.
You would have got a C plus.
No, I
Gonna
wouldn't.
tell me what I'm gonna read.
No. Oh, you gonna read it because I paid to be here, and I'm not some undergraduate in their first university experience. I've been to this rodeo multiple times. Oh no, you're gonna read the darn paper.
Doctor.
Then she gave me a B plus, and I took her to the committee,
Oh my god!
and the committee said, "Why isn't it an A?"
I know she glad you graduated. You finished.
She's like,
I bet you at
She
that
retired.
graduation she was like, "Oh gosh,
She probably.
She retired.
ain't that a blip?"
She retired.
Now he gonna apply
At
for
our-
a job.
He done pushed her out the
At our
door.
graduation, she was, celebrated for her retirement.
She
I
took.
said
She
didn't leave. She didn't leave soon enough.
She took.
To menthol or not to menthol? That is the question. My short jaunt of smoking, which was when I was 19 years old, and I was a cop in the service, and we get up and it was boring. It wasn't real good cop work, we wasn't throwing nobody, we wasn't doing nothing. It was housing cops. So anyway, my supervisor smoked, so it was boring. So I picked up a Cool. It had menthol, and I felt that little that breath of fresh air with a cup of coffee. And then one day I woke up and was like, "What are you doing?" And I just stopped. What's the big deal on menthol? Why are you suggesting that there be a ban on menthol? And then give me the other part of why people don't want to ban.
The reason there has to be a ban on menthol and all flavored tobacco is because it's not for adults. It's targeting children.
But adults have been utilizing it all this time. So what does that mean?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But when you understand the history of it, there's documentation from all of the big tobacco, because they were dumb. They were like the Nazis. They kept notes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in their notes, they say that they added menthol to increase the number of African Americans who are smoking.
So this is in writing.
This is in writing.
Okay.
And in one of the big three's notes, they say that we add menthol for blacks and stupid. And
Really?
I think they're calling us both black and stupid.
So but why is that attractive to, what would they feel it's attractive to black people and not just to all people who would start being addicted to it?
When they started adding menthol, about 11% of African Americans smoked.
Okay.
in the country.
Okay.
Now that number is approaching 50%.
In the past or now?
Now,
I don't see anybody smoking anymore. Really?
Bishop, you just not in the right circles. People are smoking. And here's the problem. Smoking is younger and younger.
Okay.
And so when you target children,
Mm-hmm.
then I have to say, what's up?
Okay.
And you can't do that.
So do you think that children would not smoke if there was no menthol?
Oh, I think that, well, you tasted Cools and thought it was cool.
I did. Well, the first time I didn't. The first time I choked and I started crying because I was trying to impress a girl on the bus and they was smoking on the bus. And I said, let me have a drag of that cigarette. And I did. And then I was like, on the NFTA bus. And then she told her friend, I ain't raising nobody's babies. And there was no date.
That's embarrassing.
Go ahead.
Here's the issue. Right here in Buffalo, about 144 people die every year from menthol tobacco related usage. Right here in Buffalo. 85% of African Americans use cigarettes that are menthol flavored.
85%.
85%.
Okay. So we don't like to smoke.
We don't like to smoke
Straight.
unflavored cigarettes.
Okay.
I mean, we don't do it. They're always the mavericks among us. You know,
Right.
the Marlboro men.
Right.
But for the most part, it's us smoking menthol. And they've targeted us for decades. I mean, you remember Virginia Slims.
Mm-hmm.
You remember when they created Newports. Because Newports is directly getting its name from the Newport Jazz Festival.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
So they just simply have targeted us
So Newports were targeted for,
for African Americans.
I never knew that.
Supposed to be cool. And of course, everybody went to Cincinnati to the cool jazz festival.
Nah, are you serious?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, I know about the festival, but I didn't know these correlations
Yeah. No, I
didn't
between these cigarettes.
Yeah.
So I don't know where Benson and Hedges was from. Then.
And you know, the funny thing is, I was trying to show my kids something about the Flintstones. In the early days of the Flintstones, they advertised cigarettes in the cartoon.
Wow.
I was like, wow, when they young, that's what in the '60s. So as
Yeah.
you talked about how this has been a targeted campaign for decades, it's
So
true.
So taking away the menthol, what's the hope that less African Americans will smoke?
Well, what we know is less African Americans will smoke. Because look, cigarettes taste terrible. Anybody who's tried them will, if they're honest, will tell you they taste like crap.
Oh, you mean without the menthol?
Without the
yeah, see, I've
menthol.
never tasted
They
anything.
taste like crap. And that's why so few of us were smoking at all. And then they added menthol. They were targeting us. They were targeting us and Native Americans. Well, I mean, Native Americans were already smoking.
Right.
You know, from tobacco to pale, they
Right.
were already doing their thing. But we were not.
Right.
And so they targeted us. And then they built these campaigns that directly using icons. I mean, don't you remember the commercials with Billy D smoking cigarettes?
Yeah.
I mean, when we were kids watching
Yeah,
television.
yeah.
Okay, so now menthol's not the only flavor.
Okay.
Now you get bubble gum, you can get cherry, you can get watermelon, you can get all
Cigarettes?
kinds of, yes.
I don't know
You can get all
anything.
kinds of flavors. And then when they introduce vaping, well, the sky is the limit.
Right.
And vaping is nothing more than smoking. As a matter of fact, we don't know all of the science yet on vaping. But what our friends at Roswell Park tell us, and they've been studying cigarettes for almost 100 years, they're telling us that vaping is probably more harmful. They're just completing their studies. They're beginning studies right now. Here's what you know. The only product in America that the Surgeon General says don't is cigarettes.
Really?
The only product. The Surgeon General's warning, you don't see it on other products because we have other means to do that.
Yeah.
But the Surgeon General is directly related to our impacts regarding health. And so since the mid-1960s, there's been a warning placed on cigarettes right on the side of the packet.
Yeah.
Most of us don't even pay attention to it. And then sometimes when we're bored, we read it and we say, eh.
Well, I know when I travel overseas, some of the overseas areas are much more serious about anti-smoking, and they have big signs, like when you go through the airport and you go through duty-free, big signs. This is dangerous.
Right,
These
yep.
kill. And I was like, geez, it'll make you walk away. But the menthol, So the campaign, and who's leading the campaign?
This is No Menthol Buffalo.
Okay.
It's led by Stan Martin Consulting and a group of us who have already recognized that, look, this is about our youngsters, our babies. And if we don't protect them, our friends in the Common Council could do an ordinance right here in Buffalo where you wouldn't be able to sell menthol cigarettes in the city. And they're trying to hide behind what they don't understand we know, which is that they have the authority. They're suggesting they don't have the authority.
And I wonder,
and we're saying, okay, so let's put it to the test. Let's do it, and then let someone sue us.
Yeah, and I wonder. I mean, I don't. I ain't on the Common Council, so I
Anymore.
I ain't got a horse in the race.
That's it.
I'm a radio commentator. I bring you content in
President
Paris.
of Mind My Own Business.
I bring you content. I bring you the information. But here's my question. So, more than just the law, it's just the whole menthol thing. Do you think that there will be less smoking?
I know there will be less smoking.
And if it's just in the city of Buffalo, I can go to Cheektowaga and get it.
You can,
I can go right. I mean, people are still gonna go get it who want to smoke.
but you're in the Delta, so I'm not trying to tell you what to.
So
go
you
do.
don't. So this is
What I
targeted for
want
the
is
children.
to end access for children.
All right, I'm going to get ready to pay the bills, and we're going to run over to the station. When we come back, I wonder if you'll share with us why people want to keep the menthol so we can have a balanced discussion. And then we're going to break off and keep talking about smoking, but we're going to talk about smoking something else on Bailey Avenue. That tweed. We coming over to the station in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
When it comes to something as personal as your clothes, you need to deal with somebody you can trust. That's why so many people turn to Hobson's Dry Cleaning, conveniently located in the heart of the community at 874 East Delavan at the corner of Wyoming.
When you take your clothes to Hobson's, you can trust that they'll be ready on time.
You can trust that your whites will be white.
You can trust that you'll always get a fair price and service with a smile.
You can even trust that you won't have to get out of your car if you don't want to. Hobson's has a drive-through window for your convenience.
Trust is what it's all about at Hobson's Dry Cleaning.
Hobson's Dry Cleaning, your one-stop dry cleaners serving the community for over 30 years at 874 East Delavan at the corner of Wyoming. Call 891-8298. That's 891-8298.
Brian K. Lewis Funeral Home has 3 locations to serve you in Buffalo: 347 Peckham, 2258 Bailey Avenue, and Providence Memorial Chapel at 1275 Sycamore. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes offers traditional services, and they have services for all faiths. And at Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes, they have air-conditioned parlors and chapels. Financing is available, as is limousine service. At those difficult moments in your life, Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes is available where you are with counseling services. Call toll-free 877-885-7734. That's 877-885-7734. Or locally 845-5545. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes. We are here to serve you, here to serve this present age. Call today, toll-free 877-885-7734. Or email info@brianklewisfuneralhome.com.
All right, so we're talking about menthol, and then we're going to talk about the store on Bailey. Why would people want the menthol to stay, or what's the other side of the argument?
85% of people who smoke in our community smoke menthol flavored cigarettes. So it's about access in that sense. They're used to being able to go around the corner, get their cigarettes, go do whatever they need to do it. I think it's interesting that you no longer see cigarettes sold in certain places. But those places aren't in our community because, I mean, there's no Wegmans in our community.
Right.
They don't sell cigarettes at Tops. So you gotta go to these corner stores to access it, and they don't want to not have access. And you gotta keep in mind that about 40% of us don't own transportation, so getting to where they could get,
So from my former political hat, if 60%, 70% of my voters say, leave my menthol alone, there might not be a political appetite to mess with menthol. Just how it is, right?
I'm sure
Because
there's
now
no
I
political
represent the
appetite.
people, and if the people say it's as popular as when I was looking at, thank God the state went on and did it, limiting the amount of styrofoam because of how it does in our waterways, but I still had to be considerate of the restaurateurs and all that kind of stuff. So
Right. Here's the thing. What I want is to remove access for our children.
okay,
And I don't expect my child to go to Amherst so they could buy menthol flavored cigarettes.
Okay.
I expect adults are going to get what they need no matter what we do within the city limits. But what I want is to simply make it off limits for our youngsters. And the way to do that is to ban it, the sale of it in the city. Now, folks will tell you,
why not the county?
Well, because we don't control the county. I live in Buffalo. The kids I'm concerned
I know, but
about
you're a county
largely
resident, so
live
you
in
could-
Buffalo. I am a county resident.
So you could take it up to the county level, and then
Well, Bishop, I would love to have it in the United States.
okay,
But the president backed off in December. We had him poised to use FDA to do it, but he backed off. So I think what we have to do is across the country work locally, because all politics is local.
is there any municipality that you know of that has banned menthol yet
In New York,
in the United States?
in the United States, there are several. As a matter of fact, several states have banned menthol.
Really?
There's no menthol cigarettes being sold in Massachusetts.
Okay.
You have to go across the state line. There's no menthol cigarettes being sold in California.
In the whole state?
In the whole state.
Wow.
And so when I
Well, I mean,
listened,
because some of them high, they don't
Yeah,
care.
they
Well,
on
I
that
mean,
stuff.
they-
They good now.
We
they
smoking
were-
what's on Bailey. That's how they say.
that may be the case, but you can't buy menthol cigarettes in Canada. If
I
you
didn't
go
know that.
across the border to visit, you can't find a menthol cigarette anywhere in that
I didn't know that.
200 million square miles.
I didn't
That's
know
Canada.
that. I didn't know that. That's wild. So where is the fight now? And then we're going to talk about Bailey.
I think the fight now is just getting our local elected officials to have the courage to launch out into the deep.
Huh? Okay. Well, and you're right. Massachusetts in 20, and I'm not doubting you. I'm just looking at other places. Massachusetts in 2020 became the first state to ban the sale of all flavored tobacco products, including menthol cigarettes. California enacted similar ban. See, I like when people who have doctorate degrees know their stuff. I mean, you got a doctorate degree, you ought to know something. Don't just be what? Who is that? Stan Martin.
Stan Martin, that's one of our partners.
Oh, okay. Let me get him on real quick. You have to turn your mic on. I gotta turn. What I gotta do? I don't have a mic. Oh yeah, I'm fine. Hey, Stan.
Hello,
Hi, you're on the air. How are you?
I'm doing well, Bishop. Thank you for taking my call, and thank you for having this topic on your show today.
Thank you. What do you want to inform us about this?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Pointer, for, your kind words. And I just want to share with the listeners, in response to your question, ending the sale of menthol tobacco will save over 600,000 lives across this country, and we know that it would save over a 250,000 Black lives in particular. Here in the city of Buffalo, in that regard, as we localize this effort, we know that it will save over 700 lives here in the city of Buffalo, and over 100 lives, almost 150 lives, Black lives in particular. As Pastor Pointer mentioned earlier, we know that one Black person dies each week as a result of menthol tobacco use. Menthol is the flavor that attracts. It helps the poison to go down smoother. And one of the things that we really want to emphasize that this is an opportunity to save our children from becoming the next generation of replacement smokers. And you ask the question, why not, banning it at the county level or at other levels? We know that this, when it comes to Black lives in particular, our people have always been forgotten and left behind. And this is an issue that has been at the federal level, at the state level, and at the county level, and we can't wait any longer. We know that this is something that can be done here within our community. The question is, do our elected officials have the will to do so? Do they have the will to do what's morally right? And one of the things that we know in particular is that the tobacco industry has done a lot of gaslighting and fear mongering, in our community, saying that, black people are going to be arrested. Policing is an issue. Police brutality is the issue, but that is not this issue. The ordinance that we have proposed with the Buffalo Common Council, removes or places the onus on the manufacturers and the retail sale. There's nothing in there about possession, so that's a falsehood. And in addition to that, I want to say that the tobacco industry knows that, this right here, will cost them dollars. It's all about profit over public health.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you, bro. I appreciate the call. Yeah, I agree with him that it is about dollars. And
That's all it's about.
Yeah, I'm reading, and there are many cities
Yes.
that have banned it. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And when I asked you to come on, I really asked you to come on to educate me because I didn't want to be out here saying something that I really didn't understand. But according to an article on NPR, it talks about those same things you talked about, but it says that there are cities and states that have banned tobacco from their shelves. I mean, not tobacco, menthol.
And Bishop, the other thing, just quite frankly, when you think about banning and the ill effects that happens to the black community from smoking, there's numerous ones. And the cost to the public and to our communities is huge.
Has there ever been a study that showed in these areas where menthol is banned, whether there has been a drop in smoking?
Well, there's a recently published study about what's going on in Massachusetts.
Okay.
Because Massachusetts has been at this now for 4 years.
Okay.
And so you get a little more data. So what we're noticing is not so much for adult smokers, but the number of youngsters taking up smoking has dropped dramatically. And that's what we want. We want to end RJR, Brown and Williamson, Philip Morris. We want to end their profit on cigarettes.
Yeah,
because they're multi corporations to begin with. They don't need tobacco, but as long as they can make money on our
They're going to
backs
keep doing it.
and on our lungs,
Yeah,
they'll do it.
And Janique Curry says absolutely about the money. Let's shift a little bit. Still talking about smoking, but I don't think cannabis comes with a filter, does it?
No, it doesn't.
So it doesn't taste as bad as cigarettes. What happened, Bailey? What happened?
So we've had this situation for about a month or so, that this particular entity opened up all of a sudden. And one of my residents.
It didn't
called
come
me.
before the Common Council.
No, didn't come before the council, nothing whatsoever.
And when the store opens, it has to come before the Common
It's supposed to come
Council,
before the
right? Okay.
Right. And so this one did not come. Only thing I found out was the residents were complaining that this business had opened up, so I'll go over. And actually, one of the CPOs went over along with one of the inspection commissioners, and they ended up giving them a cease and desist order. The person who was in the video that I showed from the other day is the person that tore up the cease and desist order in front of Derek Floyd, the CPO.
Wow.
And the inspector for permits and inspection.
Wow.
And so Derek went hard and then went to Judge Kearney from
Housing
Court to get a warrant saying, we can't let this happen.
Right.
So that information gets back to permits and inspections. This gentleman who owns this business goes and meets with them, and they kind of shove it up to the rug. And
Now, wait a minute. What else because I saw in your video, it looked like some products like from a deli store were behind. What is he selling?
He
out
was
here?
selling
cigars. And I'm going to
all
say
those
to
things.
protect this show, allegedly, I was not there. I'm getting the information from
What
the
I
third
saw,
party.
exactly.
Yes.
Cigars and cigarettes.
So they were selling cigarettes?
Yes.
But that would be kind of like
cigars, those little whatever those.
so. But is it a smoke shop? Is it a deli store? Because it said apparel on the front.
It said apparel. It didn't say apparel. Now this is the second time he changed his sign. He added apparel,
And it's a nice sign. So he's
it's
spending
very-
money.
spend- Good money. It
And
looked
then
nice inside,
Now he
too.
has some little hats and little stuff. But as we're standing there, approaching this guy and talking about what he's doing, other customers are coming in, and they want to come to
buy weed?
Yeah, they weren't coming to
Or
buy
cannabis?
No hats.
Huh?
They weren't coming to buy hats. They were.
How do
coming
you
to get
know?
this.
Did they ask?
The one guy had some weed over his ear.
Okay.
And he said, "Oh no, I got to leave here," and he jetted out
'Cause he saw
we were
you.
there. He saw us.
But do you go in the store because you had a constituent who went in and bought
Yes.
some weed?
Yes.
And you are now in possession
I'm
of
in
that
possession
weed.
of what
So you
she
got
purchased.
weed.
I just got it on the side.
I'm just
It's
saying.
in
I'm
an
just
envelope,
saying.
and I ain't.
I'm
Weed
just
is
saying.
decriminalized. You
It
can be
is
in possession.
decriminalized. But you got
You
some
can be
weed,
in
bro.
possession.
You got some weed for the weekend.
I got it.
You got weed for
I
holiday?
I got a piece
the
of
long
weed
weekend.
as evidence.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to be smoking, and I ain't going to be token.
So anyway, this show is about to take a left turn.
I'm not.
So, Rush, council member, you go in the store and what do you say? Hey, I want some weed, or how did
No,
your constituent
I
buy
went
it?
in there
No,
and-
how did your constituent buy it?
Oh, she just went and said I wanted some. She actually used the term that they used when they purchased it. I can't remember what the term was, but she said I wanted to buy something, and
What's
the guy
the,
just got it. Whatever
what's the term?
A
You
split,
young, so I know
whatever.
you know the term. What's the
Is it
term?
a spliff? I don't know what it is.
A
Spliff.
spliff.
Ooh, he went
What?
back to the. He went back to the 70s.
So your constituent went in, bought cannabis from an illegal cannabis
Yes.
shop that is allegedly
Yes,
posing as an apparel shop. Do they have clothes?
they have a couple of hats and
That's
a couple
it?
of shirts.
That's it?
But that's it. Nothing else.
So
A whole case with nothing in it. But
so
then they
wait a
had
minute.
the
So what is the product they're selling? Oh, I mean, what are they legally selling?
What they're legally selling is a shirt and some hats.
What's on the shirt? A leaf?
I believe it's some weed. I believe it's some weed.
You believe the shirt is some weed or some weed on the shirt?
Weed on the shirt. It's a sign of weed on the shirt. But let me say this. 'cause
So they're still open.
it's still open. But
Now,
let me-
I'm advertising. I shouldn't even say the street because there's somebody gonna be like, "Well, I can go down on Bailey."
Well, and I'm appreciative of the people on Facebook who have come and said things. Because the one girl said, "So, well, what is it? You know, it's legalized. I'm not. If it's legalized, I'm good. If he had a license, what could I do?
Right.
But he doesn't have a license, and from what I'm hearing, there's many more of these establishments. So I want to shout out Claudine Ewing, who, when I talked to her about this, she went to action. And matter of fact, right now, and I believe she's met with the commissioner to talk about this issue because there's been other places within our city where these shops are propping up. And matter of fact, I got information from someone. I don't know factually that they said that they did DoorDash and was able to select. some
You
weed.
lying now?
That's what
But
they
you
said to me.
can. I would
what they
assume
said.
because it's not. You can DoorDash probably cannabis. Okay, so and for the record, I'm not a participant. I just bring it. So because Marie Collins said you got weed not for the weekend, I'm on the floor.
So-
I want to be clear. I will not be over at Councilmember Wyatt's house this weekend because he is in possession of cannabis.
With a smoke tower coming
Yeah,
out.
that ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen.
But again, I don't think you can still DoorDash because for two reasons. One,
Not legally.
not legally because you putting in your banking information. You can't buy weed in New York State with a regular bank card.
You gotta use cash,
You got to
right?
use cash.
Okay.
So, and I doubt that any legal place would be on DoorDash just for you to.
But if it's an illegal place and they're on DoorDash,
Yeah, that's evidence.
something is going on. And so
And
so they just got a few hats and some shirts.
Yeah, just a few hats, some shirts. But this is the thing. We were at a community meeting, the University District Block Club Coalition meeting, and the woman, they were complaining about this, and they said, let's go protest. I mean, this happened spontaneously. And one of the members said, hey, I'm going to go buy it, and I'm going to bring it back. And so she wouldn't bought it, and she brought it back.
Did she
the
smoke
meeting.
any of it?
No, she ain't smoking.
to the meeting.
I mean, how do
She
you
brought it back to the meeting. She
how do
just
you
brought it
know
back
it's
to the
real?
So it was.
How you know it's real, council member?
Some of our members who have
They have certain
no,
You stuttering.
no. They
You
know that
stuttering.
it's real. I can't prove it,
Sir,
but
I have a question.
Someone told me that was real.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Are you high?
Now I ain't had a cigarette to my mouth and I ain't never been high.
He has
but,
not.
But
And
that-
I'm
that's
making
what
like, but I'll say this for the people who go, what's the problem? It's not even about, for me, when I was a council member, it is about community control of
Yes.
what businesses
Yes.
show up in your
Yes.
neighborhood.
Yes. Right.
And without having that process, you could wake up tomorrow, and if we did not have a method, you could wake up tomorrow and it could be a methadone clinic, which they do that anyway, anything right around you without any community control. And that's what that's about more than about what product is coming out of the store.
And this individual, well, not the individual that sold the weed, but the individual who came before me that opened up this business from New York City. I met with him.
So,
I met with
so
him.
this is not a Buffalonian.
No, he's not a Buffalonian.
That's why he tore that up. He got that New York City
But-
allegedly.
That mentality.
Yes.
But I explained to him how we work. I said, you just can't open up. I mean, this guy had a sign, put the old metal grates up and everything within days.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what, did you think that this was okay? Well, this is what they do in New York. I said,
And
so
see
you don't
that
follow
mentality, and that's what we're seeing. A lot of people moving here from New York, and they do it. And when I was a council member, and we were having trouble with Town Gardens, and I remember meeting with the then owners who were from New York, and when we walked through and doors hanging off windows, and I said, "This is unacceptable." His words to me, I'll never forget it. This meets the standard of New York, and I say it does not meet the standard of Buffalo. So many of them do. I shouldn't quantify it like that, but I'll say I have run into many of them, whether they're landlords, because the one of the worst houses on my street is in New York City. I know he don't know the condition of that house.
Right.
I know he does
Absolutely
not know
not.
it, nor does he care, because he's not here. And so when we look in, when we talk about economics, when we talk about our neighborhoods, sometimes we are our worst enemy, because we'll be like, well, what's the matter with him? Why? It ain't nothing but weed. At the end of the day, it ain't about the weed. It's about a store opening without going through the process.
Yeah, just be legal.
And is this what you want?
Just
be legal.
Just be legal.
Be legal.
And that's what I said to the woman on Facebook. I said, I'm good. I mean, it's legalized. I hope we don't have a 50 in my district, but if it's legal, I ain't nothing I can do. It's legal. But this individual, if you watch the video from Facebook, says, why should I care? Why should I care? That's exactly what it said. Why should I care what you think?
Wow.
But here's the other thing.
Janique, I'll come right to you, Doctor. Janique Curry says, no, you cannot DoorDash legalize cannabis. There is required recording of the transaction. You have to show your driver's license as proof that you are over 21. Go ahead.
The question that should come to our mind is, can I do this on Delaware Avenue? Can I do this on Hurdle?
No.
Can I
Well, they do it. They
can I-
do it because they had the sticker shocks.
Can I do this on Abbott Road?
But they shut them down quick.
I mean, come on.
But
Here's the fact. We are always the garbage can.
Yeah.
Everybody brings their trash to us, and that's what they expect us to do, be the receptacles for their trash.
Yep. Beverly McCulley says, good afternoon. I've been a smoker since 16 to 17 years old. She's talking about tobacco, not weed. You got to, nowadays you got to clarify. 'Cause you got to smoke, they give you weed. 17 years old, I haven't been able to smoke menthol since a year before COVID and can't smoke menthol. And when people ask me for one, when I tell them they're not menthol, some don't want it, and others, you can tell they don't want it, but smoke it. Menthol is killing us. I'm trusting God to deliver it from me before my 65th birthday. I'm praying.
Praise God. I'm
and thank
praying
you
with
for
you.
being transparent about it. She says smoking weed is something different. Have a great weekend. Yeah, pray and just realize it's killing. It. You know, I have sarcoidosis. I've had sarcoidosis. I am not a smoker. Found out later it was from radon that was in a house that I own. But thank God that I haven't had cancer yet. It could happen. It still can happen. And at the end of the day, we are losing too many people to cigarette smoke. What's the next thing for this store since they're still open?
So I have a meeting coming up soon with a state official as it relates to the Office of Cannabis Management addressing these issues. From what I understand, there's about 100 unlicensed cannabis distributors right now in our city.
Okay.
And
Wow.
we're limited to address. Let me just clarify. It might be 100 through the state, but I thought they said 100 in the city.
Yeah, it's like over 100 retailers.
Retail, okay.
Yeah.
So they're and right now we don't have the enforcement mechanisms without it being through the Office of Cannabis Management to address it. However, we got these warrants that we can just shut them down. Thank Janique Curry for sending me an article from I believe New York State magazine that talks about the fine that is $10,000 if you are caught selling it illegally, and if they give you a cease and desist order and you continue selling, it's $20,000 for each incident.
And they're supposed to also they're supposed to be actually able to go after the building owner too on as too. So like if you got the lease, then you can actually go, like they're going to get the business operator and the
landlord.
person, the landlord that's leasing out the property.
But does this guy own the building, or you don't know?
I don't know, but I know Officer Floyd is looking into more of it, and I'm hopeful that after Claudine has met with the commissioner, they'll be a little bit more proactive in addressing this issue, because you've known this about for a month and a half.
Yeah.
And it's still open.
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, they shut down deli stores quicker than that, or a bar quicker than that. You know, they'll slap a cease and desist in a minute. You got a shooting at a bar, and again, I want to be clear of what this is about as far as what my concern is. It is about neighborhoods and neighbors being able to control the neighborhood. I'm going to slide into one last topic concerning you, and that's the co-op. How's that going?
Well, we are in the final stages of financing
Okay.
for construction at 238 Carlton. And once we get financing in place, then we can come and talk to our friends at the City of Buffalo and go through that process.
They ain't got no money.
When
You better be going to get a permit, bro. You better be going to get a permit, because there ain't no money in them there coffers.
zoning, preservation, permitting. If I was getting money from the city, I'm late because you here.
Oh yeah, I'm out, bro. You got to go talk to the other council.
And Bishop, if I can, real quick regarding this budget, which we don't have money, and I just want to be clear, because something happened that just it's still been bothering me. That we recently voted on a budget for $617 million. That I said clearly, I will not be voting for. I did not support, and I thought that when I said that my vote would have been shown as in a negative. It did not. And so, unfortunately, it showed up that we all agreed, which, again, very clearly, if you watch the video, I said I am not voting for this budget, and nor did I vote for the amendments, because the amendments had errors in them. I couldn't even find some of the line items. And I'm like, well, why would I be voting for something that shows its errors? And then the other piece is, when I talked about the budget itself, the revenues are false. There are things that aren't even with the state right now. And as far as a bed tax, there's not even legislation with the state to do those things. So I did not vote for the budget, although it will show that
It shows recorded.
I recorded it in my voice that I did not support it. So just let people know.
All right. Well, the Wyatt has spoken.
The Wyatt.
He said, I'm not voting.
No.
He just ain't, when it went around, say, don't forget. You should have been like Joe Golombek, because Joe be like,
I'm in the negative.
I'm in the negative. So now you know. Now you know that that Wyatt wasn't voting for, but he
See, if you'd have been there, you say, you're in the negative, right? Yeah. You'd have said that to me. You'd be like, yeah. I'm like, yes, sir. I said it.
You know what's going to have to happen. You're going to have to become Rashid Wyatt Earp.
Not Wyatt Earp.
He will take you more seriously behind that gun.
Not Wyatt Earp.
No. There is too much going on this show today.
Not Wyatt Earp.
We didn't talk
The
about.
doctor said that.
We didn't talk about weed and tobacco and guns and my gosh, this is a family
Air
show.
flights, costs.
Well, I got to get ready to get out of here. I want to thank Hobson's, the doctor of dry cleaning, 874 East Delavan. Listen, if you got clothes over there, go get your clothes. Don't leave your clothes over there, or you're going to see me wearing your coat. Go get your clothes, but it's time to take your winter clothes. You take them now, get those ready for, because winter coming back. Y'all here.
Well, you ain't got to talk about it right now.
Scorch and bathing suits. It's coming back. It's coming back. Take your clothes, get them ready at Hobson's, the doctor of dry cleaning. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes, 3 locations to serve you: 347 Peckham, 2528 Bailey, and 1275 Sycamore. In your hour of need, I'm going to say it the old school way that these youngins don't know anything about. If I give you the number, you're going to forget it. You can call the operator. 411. Call the operator, or just go online and look
Google
it up. Or you could call the church. We're going to make sure. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Home, in your hour of need. They took care of the Ralph Bailey family, Darren Woods family, among others, this week. Listen, folks, it's been a great show. I want to thank the newly named, what do you call it? Conferred. A PhD, Dr. Pointer. I'm always going to call you Dr. Pointer, and I call people who've earned their PhD doctor
Yes,
on
sir.
purpose, because I want other people to hear that distinction of your scholarship and study. You got a copy of your work?
Not yet.
Now, yeah, please share.
As soon as this,
You got to study something, so you can't just if you got it, yeah. And to Councilmember White, thank you for joining us and updating us on an apparel store in the place you can go and get T-shirts and a hat.
get dressed in weed.
Well, I don't think the shirt is weed, Doctor.
No, but I think we can make it.
Are y'all selling weed over at the co-op?
Listen, no.
No. I mean,
It is from the earth.
We'll sell some weeds. It won't be cannabis.
it won't be cannabis. All right. Until next week, we throw it over to the station.
Power to the people.